Well, America is waiting to be inspired again. There is such a hunger out there for it. People want to feel good again. They want to feel good about America. This war in Iraq has drained so much of the will of our country. People are looking for something big to be inspired about. Well, we need to give them a chance. We need to give people a chance to be inspired again. And this is the opportunity. I'm telling you it is. And by the way, I sometimes hear Washington politicians, I used to be there. I sometimes hear Washington politicians talking about, well, if you've been successful in your life, you did it on your own. It was your hard work. I see some of you nodding already. But it was your hard work and your responsibility that got you there. And if you failed or if you're struggling, it's your own personal failure. Well, I know that's not the truth. I know it from my own life. There's at least a chance that one of you remembers that I'm the son of a mill worker. I think I said it in about 3,000 speeches right here in the state of Iowa. But, like a lot of you, my parents worked, I come from a background of working people. My parents worked in the mill. Grandparents helped raise me. They worked in the mill. But I've now had, let's be truthful about this, I've now had everything you could ever have in this country. Everything. I don't deny that. I did not get here by myself. I could never have gotten here by myself. When you think about it, just in my own life, I had heroic public school teachers that helped educate me. I went to a college, a university, funded by taxpayers, state university. I went for my graduate degree, funded by taxpayers. I borrowed money to go to school, funded by taxpayers. The truth is, my country was there every step of the way. And none of us get to this place in our lives by ourselves. We just don't. What we do together matters. It says something about who we are. How we treat 37 million of our own people, we can't pretend they're not there now. They're not invisible anymore. The whole country knows about them. How we treat them says something about the character of this country. It just does. So, what can we do? There's so many simple things to do. We can raise the national minimum wage. Should have been done years ago. And I don't want to get too wonky, but there's something called the Earned Income Tax Credit, which can be expanded to help make work pay for poor working people. Another thing, we need to make it easier, not harder, for workers to organize unions in the workplace. Because unions can make such a difference in the lives of ordinary working people. I'll just give you one example. I was recently involved in a hotel workers organizing campaign nationally, traveling around helping organize hotel workers. If you work in a hotel in Boston, where the mayor actually requires that the union be able to be present in the hotel, for the same hotel chain that has hotels in Miami, and in Miami they're not organized, they don't have unions, charge the same room rates, roughly the same room rates. But if you work in Boston, where they're unionized, you make $14 to $20 an hour, you have health care coverage, and you have a pension. If you work in Miami, you make $6 an hour. No pension, no health care coverage. You work those are poverty wages. Now, you fit the definition of poverty. So it's really a very simple thing. If the union's there, you make a decent wage, you get decent benefits. People always talk, we all do. I've heard it over and over. Right here in Iowa, we worry about the loss of manufacturing jobs, right? That help build the middle class in America. I know it's true in my own family. Well, what we always forget, that those manufacturing jobs, they weren't great jobs before the union. It's the union that made them great jobs. The union that bargained for good pay, good benefits, good health care coverage. There are 50 million workers in the service economy in America today. People who work in hotels, restaurants, home health care workers. Those jobs aren't going somewhere else. They can't go somewhere else. And whether they're able to organize and join a union makes an enormous difference in the quality of their lives and their children's lives. What about a decent place to live? You know, our housing policy in this country is a complete disaster. I mean, just think for just a minute in your own mind, those images you saw coming onto your television screens out of New Orleans, poor people clustered together, black people clustered together. Listen, you can't blame New Orleans. It's true all across America. Poor people and people of people of color clustered together. We have such a basic question to answer as a nation. People don't like to hear me say this sometimes, but I'm going to say it to you anyway. The truth is, we have to confront what's happening in America today. There's not just racial segregation, by the way. It's also economic segregation. And that kind of segregation is so unhealthy for this country. If we really believe in an America where we all have equal worth, and I believe it to my soul, if we believe that, I think every single person here today has equal value. If we believe that, are we ever going to actually start living together? This is not good for America. It's not good for democracy. There are things we can do if we have the will to do it. We can have we have housing vouchers, Section 8 housing vouchers, which today we use to cluster people together in public housing. We can have 1 million more housing vouchers, but use them differently. Instead, to create some mobility for families, poorer families. Allow them to move into better neighborhoods. They don't like, what happens is, affluent white people, if they don't like their schools, they send their kids to private school or they move. But if you're poor, you don't have that choice. You're stuck. You are buried right where you are and you can't do a thing about it. Well, here's what we can do. We can use these housing vouchers to create mobility for some of these families so that they can get into better neighborhoods.